a recent marketing campaign that was supposed to put Angel Reese front and center has ended up causing more confusion than celebration. Instead of making her shine, it left the impression that she was being overshadowed, and now social media is having a field day, with some users joking that she owes Caitlin Clark for the attention. It all started with what appeared to be a tone-deaf promotional effort by Reebok, the athletic brand now led by NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal. What was meant to highlight Reese's influence in the league instead sparked backlash and raised eyebrows about the direction of her brand and identity in the public eye. In a segment from the Netflix series Power Moves with Shaquille O'Neal, viewers saw Shaq, who serves as Reebok's president of basketball, discussing marketing plans with company executives. In one particular exchange, Shaq made it clear that he wanted Angel Reese suited up in Reebok gear when she faced Caitlin Clark in the WNBA season opener. On paper, that sounds like a strategic moment to boost visibility, but the optics were less than flattering. To many, it felt like the brand was implying Reese needed Clark's spotlight to gain relevance, a move that didn't sit well with fans or critics. Rather than letting Reese stand on her own merit, the campaign leaned heavily into Clark's rising star power, making Reese's inclusion seem more like an afterthought than a focus. The reaction online was immediate and harsh. Fans flooded platforms like X, formerly known as Twitter, expressing their disappointment and mocking the campaign's approach. One fan bluntly stated, "Angel Reese owes money to Caitlin Clark for life," while another added sarcastically, "Even her signature shoe is tied to CC Dog." Comments like these weren't just poking fun, they highlighted a deeper frustration with how brands often try to force narratives instead of embracing authenticity. One user summed up the sentiment: "They're admitting that their marketing revolves around Caitlin. Planning your strategy around someone else? That's just embarrassing." The message was clear. Fans felt the campaign lacked originality and respect for Reese's individuality. To make matters worse, the visuals and rollout didn't help. Promotional materials featured both Reese and Clark as dual symbols of the future of women's basketball. While that might have seemed like a smart move on paper, pairing two of the league's most recognizable young stars, the execution fell flat. Rather than elevating both athletes, it came across as forced and calculated. Viewers didn't see a celebration of two great talents. They saw one star being used to validate another. And when that happens, the audience can feel it. Reese's appearance in the campaign was seen as contrived, not celebrated, which only fueled the backlash further. What this situation really exposed was the importance of nuance in marketing, especially when it comes to athletes who already have strong, established identities. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are both vital to the WNBA's current momentum, but they bring very different things to the table. Clark is widely credited with expanding the league's audience. Her college dominance, charisma, and sharpshooting have drawn national headlines and record-breaking viewership. Reese, on the other hand, has carved out her own niche with her relentless rebounding, tough attitude, and unapologetic confidence. She doesn't play for applause, she plays to dominate. and fans love her for it. Trying to package these two as interchangeable parts does a disservice to both. At the heart of the issue is a simple but crucial lesson. Every star deserves a campaign that reflects their truth. In today's culture, audiences can sniff out inauthenticity instantly. A branding effort that looks like it's riding someone else's wave doesn't build loyalty, it builds skepticism. For Angel Reese, who's proven herself time and time again on the court, this kind of misstep can feel especially frustrating. She doesn't need to be tethered to Caitlin Clark or anyone else to be relevant. Her accomplishments speak volumes. She was a standout in college. She shattered records early in her WNBA career, and she's one of the league's most recognizable faces. Her branding should mirror that strength. Angel Reese's influence stretches far beyond the basketball court. She's not just an athlete, she's a cultural figure. From her viral moments to her outspoken personality, she brings a bold energy that fans connect with on a deeper level. Her journey resonates with people because she refuses to conform. She's authentic, she's passionate, and she's never afraid to speak her mind. Brands that align with her should be highlighting that energy, not diluting it by pairing her with another name in hopes of gaining relevance. Reese deserves campaigns that celebrate her, not for who she might be. Standing next to Dot, to be clear, Caitlin Clark's success isn't the problem. In fact, it's part of what's propelling the WNBA into a new era of attention and investment. But the league isn't a one-woman show, and fans are smart enough to know that. They don't want to see a rising talent like Reese cast in a supporting role when she's clearly a star in her own right. Pushing that narrative doesn't just hurt Reese, it stunts the league's growth. By promoting a narrow view of who matters and why, real progress comes from lifting all players up with messaging that's thoughtful, balanced, and honest. Looking ahead, Reese's team and any sponsors working with her have an opportunity to course correct. The backlash to the Reebok campaign isn't a death sentence, it's a wake-up call. There's still time to shift the narrative and center it around who Angel Reese really is. A record-breaking athlete with charisma, confidence, and a fiercely loyal fan base. Future campaigns should dig into her story, highlight her triumphs, and showcase what makes her one of the most dynamic figures in sports today. With the right approach, Reese can own the spotlight without needing to borrow anyone else's shine. In the world of sports marketing, image matters, but authenticity matters more. Fans aren't just looking for big names anymore. They're looking for real stories, real emotions, and real people. Reese has all of that in spades. She's already proven herself as a top-tier athlete, and with the right narrative, her brand can go even further. Instead of clinging to comparisons or playing second fiddle, her next chapter should be all about elevation on her own terms. Let her stand tall, center stage, and unapologetically herself. That's the version of Angel Reese people are ready to support. The aftermath of the campaign also sparked broader conversations about the way media and corporations still handle rising black women in sports. Angel Reese's situation isn't just about a misjudged marketing strategy, it's also about the deeper, systemic issue of how authenticity in black female athletes is often sidelined or misrepresented. Instead of allowing Reese to be the confident, complex figure that she is, brands too often try to mold her into something that fits a sanitized narrative. That, in itself, can be harmful. Fans of Reese admire her rawness, her refusal to shrink herself, and her courage to exist loudly in spaces that weren't always built for her. The more companies ignore that in favor of neat storylines, the more out of touch they appear. Reese, for her part, has not directly responded to the campaign criticism, but her silence has spoken volumes. She's remained focused on her game, continuing to put up impressive numbers and proving why she was a top draft pick. It's a move that underscores her professionalism, but also hints at a deep understanding of her own value. Reese doesn't need to engage in online debates to know her worth. She lets her performance do the talking. And perhaps that's what truly bothers critics the most. She doesn't beg for validation. She commands it. What's also worth noting is that this marketing misstep could have easily been avoided. All it would have taken was centering Reese's own story and strengths instead of leaning on an overused rivalry. Fans have seen enough of the Clark versus Reese narrative. It was compelling during their college days. Sure, but this is the WNBA now. A bigger stage where both women have the space to shine without being pitted against one another. At every turn, the league thrives when it allows different personalities, play styles, and voices to coexist, not compete for the same spotlight. Another frustrating layer to this story is how easily narratives get twisted depending on who they're about. When Clark is celebrated, it's often for her game, her leadership, her discipline. When Reese gets attention, it's usually wrapped in controversy, often created by media spin or misunderstood behavior. That imbalance is not just lazy journalism, it's damaging. Reese deserves to be discussed on the same terms as any other elite athlete, with respect for her craft and not constant side eyes toward her attitude. This contrast between how similar actions are interpreted through different cultural lenses reveals a media bias that fans are growing tired of. Despite the backlash, the campaign has had one unintended effect. It's reignited conversation around how women's sports are marketed and consumed. That dialogue is important, even if it came from frustration. Fans want more thoughtful campaigns that reflect the nuances of these athletes' journeys, not quick cash grabs built around social media hype. The WNBA is evolving, and if brands want to stay relevant within that evolution, they need to do more than slap the big names on a graphic and call it a day. They need to understand the pulse of the culture, and right now, the culture is demanding more respect, more depth, and more care.